hello there. My name is Michaela Frank. Welcome to EsportsNext. I have with here someone who I personally actually really love and adore.
Thank you. Vice versa. It's right back at you.
Yeah.
I'm Katie Briggs. I'm the president of Landfest.
All right, Katie, how are you enjoying the conference?
It's pretty good. I've had a lot of fun so far and just meeting new people, talking with folks who are interested in the same things that we're interested, which is building healthy communities through gaming. And yeah, it's been fantastic.
Yeah, for those who don't know you, can you talk a little bit about LandFest and like what you do and all that stuff?
Sure. Yeah, so Landfest has been around for 21 years. We are a group of gamers who started with about 20 gamers and expanded to 700, and now we are in 16 different states with 21 chapters, over 450 volunteers nationwide, about 4.5 million volunteer hours in the last 21 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
and basically what we do is we bring people together to have fun and to play games. We believe that having fun and playing games is extremely vital to being healthy, both physically and mentally. And then when we're being healthy, we're having fun. Then, of course, what we like to do is do with our friends.
Yeah.
So then we build community, and then we also believe that games unite people. So the really fantastic thing about games is that games don't care. They don't care about your gender. They don't care about your race. They don't care about your religion, socioeconomics. They are a uniting force. So when we feel good and we are playing with our friends, then our third value is around doing good back to the community. So then we support our local community either with charity drives, fun food drives, blood banks, education opportunities. So basically giving it back to the community as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what do you think is one of the most unique aspect of either the community that you have built or the gaming community in general?
Definitely the thing that I love about it is there's two things that I have to tie really closely together.
Okay.
The first one is passion. Passion is extremely awesome about this community. People are authentic and passionate about what they do, why they do it, and how they do it. And then inclusion. The second thing that I really love about it is inclusion, because as I mentioned before, games don't care about so many, even physical disabilities, people who are going through rough times. They can unite through a game. People on a completely different political or ideology can unite over a game. And so I think that those are the two really important aspects of the gaming community that I wish the rest of the world would understand is the
Definitely.
passion, authenticity, and inclusion of gaming overall.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things I also, and you talk about like, giving back. And since I work with like, Scholastic Esports, I don't have a problem finding people who to bring into the classroom more often than not. They're like, how can I get in front of the kids? Because, I want to educate them. I want them to give opportunities that I didn't have when I was growing up. And I know that you also, like you said, you run a lot of volunteers and you also provide a lot of that to the community. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So again, when we have people who are passionate about what they're doing, we want to share it. And I love it. I want to share it with you. I mean,
Yeah.
and you can tell that I'm passionate about this idea because I want to share it with folks. And so we have a lot of the attendees at Landfest are actually in the tech industry themselves. And so what they would love to do is they love to teach and they love to volunteer and they love to work with other folks who don't know what they know. So they like to share their knowledge.
Yeah.
And we kind of do it in Landfest, we do it in a less structured way, as is like, hey, can we go into the classroom? Instead, what we have Microsoft executives playing Fortnite, playing StarCraft, playing. I'm just going through the range of new and old, playing together, and through that play is when those barriers are broken down, and then people start to learn. Oh, I can do this, and you can do that, and you actually see the natural progression of the older, more experienced gamer coaching and mentoring the younger one, and there's a bond that's created during that moment.
Yeah.
So those are a lot of the things that our volunteers love to do naturally. We have a program called the PC Build Workshop, which is first-time PC builders. We help them get a set, and then we build together. And the interesting thing that we noticed is we started this during COVID, so it was all done remotely. But when we started post-COVID, we had some the in-person PC build workshops, and we noticed that we had our one instructor, but then all of the attendees who were watching this build started to they just came in and helped these first-time builders build the PC parts.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to watch people who weren't asked
Yeah.
to help, who weren't paid to help, who just had a passion and said, well, that really kind of, if you turn it this way, or if you rub that there and put some thermal grease here, it's going to slip in a little better. So when people are passionate about a subject, they want to share it with others.
Yeah. I wish, more people can understand and more people can see the communities that are built, just through gaming.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a big misconception that gamers like to be isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often get two questions when people find out about our organization, which has been around for a long time, and a lot of people don't know about it. And the first question is, "Oh, you like to do that for the kids?" And I'm like, well, my average age is between 38 and 58 that go to my events. It's not about the kids, it's about playing together.
Yeah.
And then the second question that people always ask me is, they're like, well, why would we want to get together if you can do that from home? Like,
Yeah.
why would you meet in person? And I just kind of laugh because people are people, no matter whether they're a gamer or not.
Yes.
And again, when you are having fun doing something with other people, you want to do it together. There's a different, yes, online can happen and there is a nice place for online, but there's a magic that happens when you're in person.
Definitely.
And so and then they're always like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I laugh when I'm like, gamers are people too. They like
Definitely.
to be with other people. So
Yeah. The bonding that's different, that happens online, and the bonding that happens in person is definitely very different.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we've had people who have been online gaming together. They come to the event and meet one another for the first time, and then they end up getting married.
What?
Some of our best friends, that they were in a WoW guild together. He lived in California, she lived in Washington. They kind of, really got to be friends online and got to talk about things. Then he came up to one of our LandFest events, and then a year later they were married.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Since you've been doing this for so long, 20 years is a long time.
Yeah.
So what do you think, what changes have you noticed throughout the years?
So are you in the community style or I mean, there's been so many changes over the last 21 years.
Yeah, within the community.
Yeah, from a CRT to the flat screen, there's been a lot of changes in that time. But with the community itself, I think that what I've really seen is that more people are understand the pandemic. I know a lot of people were they talk negatively about it. What I saw as a silver lining in that was that more people started to understand online gaming, and they started to tiptoe into a world that they traditionally wouldn't have gone into.
Okay.
And so, your non-endemic gamers were starting to say, oh, I'm using Zoom, I'm doing all these different things. So it opened up technology to people who I believe wouldn't traditionally have sought that sought it as a platform to utilize. So that was a huge change, and I feel like that was a positive change in the way that now in the gaming space, you'll hear more people say, "Oh yeah, that person's a gamer," or "Oh, I understand it a little bit more." So even just bringing the knowledge to non-gamers, I think that opened the door a little bit more. And that's probably the biggest change that I've seen in the
Okay.
gaming industry overall. I mean, there's always ups and downs. There's always hardware changes. There's always software
Yeah,
changes.
definitely.
Yeah, but if I can pinpoint like a really particular worldwide event that
Yeah.
made a shift, I would have to say the pandemic did it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For better or worse, it changed us.
Both better and worse. There were I always try to look for silver linings.
Yeah.
And that was a silver lining to me. It was like, oh, people are, they are now understand technology in a different manner than we did before.
Definitely. So, the data panel have said that the stigma within gaming definitely dropped within this past few years. Do you disagree? Have you seen that within the community?
I think that it's really interesting when they said that, because I think that under 18s will identify as a gamer or a non-gamer, but it's like once they hit college, they don't identify that way any longer, even though they still game, right? They think,
Interesting.
I think that stigma, because I used to work in high school and now I'm more in the adult world. I don't want to say more in the adult world. I educate adults more than I do children
Yeah.
now. And they still don't say I'm a gamer. An example is we had a young lady that we were talking with who was just really fun to talk to, and she's like, I don't game. And then as we got to know her a little bit, she was actually playing with world-renowned StarCraft players. Like she was at their level and
Yeah.
competing with them, but she didn't consider herself a gamer.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. Or I have a sister who's like, I don't game, but then every morning she plays Candy Crush with her chicken while she drinks her coffee. And it's like, you play a lot more than I play. So I think that for some reason, kids under 18s are happy to identify as gamers. It's a badge of honor to
Yeah.
identify as a gamer. And then something happens between that, 18 and 22-year-old age where gaming is no longer seen as a badge of honor. It's seen kind of as a waste of time.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and so and it's kind of disappointing because as a new industry, as a newer industry, it really does offer a lot of potential for adults.
Definitely, definitely. I read a study a few years ago that they're introducing gaming to seniors
Yes.
because it's what is it? It helps them, both mentally, and it helps bond them, and it gives them things to do, and it's offers actually a lot of benefits to seniors. And
Yeah, it all goes back to our core value, which is
Yeah.
fun and
Yes.
play, and how important play is to our life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have statistics that show the average child under 18, they laugh 300 times a day. The average adult laughs 17. Yes, there's a big discrepancy there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Unless you go to a LandFest event. At a LandFest event, you see adults laughing all the time.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that we as a species need. We need to laugh. And
Definitely.
you're an educator. We
Yes.
know as educators, the way we learn the best is through play.
Yes,
Right.
definitely.
That's when we grow our largest is when we play.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and
thank you.
thank you. I can sit here and talk to you all day.
No, I love talking to you too. It's like we get it.
But okay, so as a last thing, is there anything you would like our audience to know and about you, about LandFest, about gaming, esports, and all that stuff?
Yeah, gaming is here. It has always been here. And what I would encourage you to do is to seek out those communities that are around you. Come and play with us because play is so important to being healthy and to being happy. And if you say, "Oh, I'm not a gamer," we do everything. We do board games, VR, mobile, PC, console. We play, and we want to invite you to join us in that.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Katie, again,
you.
and thank you to Anthros for providing these awesome, comfortable chairs. I will see you guys in the next one.